Well, this is it, my 200th video. And I thought it'd be... Wait 1 second. Wait. There we go. That's more like it. This is going to be a little bit of a fanboy video, so I figured, why not dress the part?
It is no secret that the NES library was filled with some bad titles. So when you went to Toys R Us to find your Nintendo game, all you could do was look at the boxes and guess if it was a good game. I can't tell you how many dud games I bought for my NES. You know, one of the worst was called Taboo the Sixth Sense. It was a fortune-telling game where you had to put questions in, and the game gave you an answer. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought that game. Nowadays, renting games to try them out is pretty common, but not back then. And those rare places that you could rent a game, the fees were normally about $4 a day. And for a kid with a limited budget, that was a lot of money. Unfortunately, it seemed like the rental stores had the same luck picking games to rent as I did buying them, as they were almost always awful third-party games that they had for rent. Nintendo came up with a clever idea to help us out. They created the PlayChoice 10 arcade machine.
I've only really wanted to own 2 arcade machines in my life. One was Double Dragon, because it's awesome, and the other one is the PlayChoice 10. Now, you might be wondering, why am I talking about this now? Well, I figured, why not? 200th video, I might as well tell you one of my childhood memories. That, and because I own one.
So I figured, why not review it? The PlayChoice 10 was made so you could test out games for only $0.25. They called it the PlayChoice 10 because there were 10 games you had to choose from. The best part about the machine was that the titles were different from machine to machine. You see, the titles could be easily changed out and swapped with new ones at a regular interval. The machine came in 3 different versions: a single screen, a dual screen, or the tabletop. The dual screen would be a top and bottom configuration, with a list of games available to play shown on the top screen, and the actual gameplay on the bottom screen. On the single screen version, it would show you a list, and then when you chose the game that you want to play, the list would go away, and you'd play the game that you chose. The same thing with the tabletop version, only smaller. I would assume this version was made for bars. If you're playing with the dual screen version, the top screen would show you instructions how to play the game, and even sometimes it would show secrets or hints to help you out, while the bottom screen would have the actual game. You could play any of these 10 games for the allotted time the arcade owner set the machine up for. Normally it was about 5 minutes, but the machine can be changed to set it for a lower or higher amount of time, depending on if it was a peak time period or not. But the best part about this machine was, if you didn't like the game that you were playing, you could just reset back to the menu anytime, and use up the rest of your time to play another title. Unfortunately for arcade owners, these machines didn't just take NES carts to play the games. They ran off cards that they bought through Nintendo. They made a little bit over 50 of them for the system, before they stopped production on the machine. All the top companies make games for this system. Nintendo, obviously, Capcom, Konami. If they were a big company, it made a game for this system. I have so many fond memories of going to the arcade and plugging in a quarter and playing Super Mario Brothers, 1942, Kung Fu, The Goonies. So many great games were available to play on this system. This was one of the machines that shaped my love for video games. Ever since I was young and I got my first NES with the ROB attachment, I have loved Nintendo products. I have many memories of hunting ducks for hours on end, or exploring the land of Hyrule for all its secrets. The many great memories that I have playing the NES, and the PlayChoice 10 in particular, is something I always wanted to share with my kids. In this age of graphical wonder and deep storylines, I wanted to show them how even a simple game could be something that you can enjoy for years to come. People ask me, why do I review Wii games with my kids? I want them to experience some of the joy and wonder I had growing up, but I also want them to recognize the creativity people put into these games, and to show them the evolution that games have made in these last 25 years. So enough about the history of the machine. Let's take a look at the games that I have for my system. Currently, I own 7 titles for this system, as you can see: Super Mario Brothers, Excite Bike, Super Mario Brothers 3, Kung Fu, The Goonies, Contra, and Double Dribble. Now, 3 of these games, Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, and Excite Bike, I've already reviewed, but I'm just going to go quickly over them again, just for fun.
Alright, what do you say we start off this review with a little classic Super Mario Brothers? Here we go.
Now, to make this clear, this is not video from the PlayChoice 10 version of Super Mario Brothers. I figured you guys really wouldn't want to watch camcorded version of gameplay footage. And I wasn't about to tear out the wiring of a 25-year-old arcade machine, just so I could hook it up to my Dazzle. So this is footage from the Virtual Console version of these games. Some of you might say, yeah, that's okay, there's no difference. But actually there was. The PlayChoice 10 could only show so many colors, so the version that you played in the arcade wasn't as colorful as the home console version. There is no better game to show off how much fun the PlayChoice 10 could be than when you play Super Mario Bros. Sure, the game is fun on the console, but there's just something when you're playing with the joystick and big buttons that makes it even more fun to play. But before I really start, it is amusing to see Luigi in his punk days. If you didn't know, back then Luigi still loved green, but this time he dyed his hair green and wore a white hat. Man, Mario had a freaky brother back then. You go through 8 worlds looking for your princess who has been kidnapped. He goes to the small castles on each of the levels to see if she's there. But he keeps coming up empty or he finds the wrong princess, until the final world where she's there waiting. On the final part of each of the worlds, the princesses are being guarded by Bowser's identical twin brothers. Each of them have a strange habit of having an axe by a drawbridge where they fight Mario. So what happens is that Mario takes advantage of their stupidity and uses that axe to cut away the bridge strings and make Bowser or his brother go into the lava below. Extra crispy dinosaur. The game is very easy to pick up and play. It even has a secret continue that you guys can stop emailing me about. If you hold the A button and press start, it will let you continue from the beginning of the last world you went to. There are plenty of secrets to find and hidden places to discover, so the replayability on this title is very high. Super Mario Bros. 3. This one I don't think works as an arcade game. It's a bit long and there are a lot of levels to explore, and I really think it was included in the PlayChoice 10 lineup as more of a demo. However, since that's the reason the PlayChoice 10 was created, I guess it's cool. But it's not one of those titles you'll come back to often, at least not in the arcade. It's fun to play it on my machine because I've set it on free play, so you can play forever if you really want to. So basically my PlayChoice 10 is just a big NES. Now you travel through these 8 worlds through a map screen, where you choose where you want to go. Then you go into levels where you go collecting mushrooms to make you bigger, leaves to turn you into a raccoon, or flowers that'll let you shoot fire. One of the best parts of this title was that when you get hurt and you're in the advanced form of Big Mario, like if you had the fire suit or the raccoon suit, if you get hurt it just takes you back to Big Mario, without any power-ups instead of turning you back to normal Tiny Mario like the first game. This is also what I believe the first game to show you that the coins that you're collecting are actually dollars. And they're apparently Sacagawea dollars. Seeing how they're gold, you can see on the scoreboard that the coins are actually dollars. So the only gold dollar coin that I can think that he could be collecting is a Sacagawea dollar. But the problem with that is that it came out in the year 2000. And this game came out in the year 1988. How did Nintendo know? How? In each of the worlds, the levels feel unique to that world. I do want to applaud Nintendo for trying to make some of the worlds make sense, like this level for one. Mario is stepping on these huge mushrooms that are being supported from somewhere below, and the higher ones are being supported from something above. What could that possibly be? I haven't got a clue. But they go the extra mile by putting chains on them, so people wouldn't be wondering, wait a minute, how's this staying up? Sure, they leave some stuff unexplained, like the floating platforms on the same level, but let's just chalk that one up to magic. Super Mario Bros. 3 is a fantastic game, even all these years later. It's not the type of game that you'd want to play on a timed arcade machine though. It really is something you need to relax to get the full enjoyment from. Excite Bike. This is a very simple title. Race on a track for 2 laps and beat the 3rd place score to advance to the next race. You can choose to play alone or with other racers. While playing alone on the racetrack is great for when you want to learn the tracks, it's not very fun for long. The real fun comes when you're playing with other people in the race. Sure, they cheat like crazy. Look at them! How are they going so fast? Those extra racers will really make it challenging for you, since they can hurt you by crashing into you. However, you can return the favor, so it can be fun if you're a real jerk. There are 2 different ways to accelerate. One is the normal way, and then the turbo acceleration, which you can do for a limited amount of time. The amount of time depends on how hot your bike is. You can see the temperature gauge at all times, and if your bike gets too hot, it'll overheat and you'll have to wait a few seconds for it to cool down. As you're racing, you can take some pretty hard falls, but even tumbling end over end for a few seconds hardly phases your rider at all. Your rider will dust himself off and hurry back to his amazingly still working bike. No matter how many falls or crashes you sustain, you can never lose a race by your bike being destroyed or your character dying, which I think would have been a cool addition and made the game more challenging. But oh well. All the game modes are available, even the create a level mode. Unfortunately, you can't save your creations. If you do try to do that, it'll kick you back to the game select menu. That's kind of unfortunate, since I thought it would have been cool if you could save your track creation for another player who might come by. Excite Bike is a pretty okay game. The game is very simple to pick up and play. And if you're looking for something quick to play, this could be a fun little distraction for a little while. Well, that's 3 down and 4 to go. In my next video, I'm going to do full reviews of some of the ones I haven't reviewed yet. Either because it hasn't been released to the Virtual Console, or because I have no interest in it. But since I have it on my PlayChoice 10, I'm going to review it. As for the PlayChoice 10 itself, is it worth a buy? No, it's not. This one is personal to me, and that's why it's worth a buy to me. I'm sure everyone has something from their childhood which will keep the spark and innocence and wonder alive for you. To anyone else, if you ever see one of these in an arcade, pop a quarter in. I think you'll enjoy it.